Did you know that managers spend an average of 54% of their work week on administrative tasks and meetings? Yeah, that's right. More than half of their time potentially micromanaging instead of leading. And research shows that it's killing your team's productivity by 85%. Wow. Look, I get it. Last month, I was working with the director at a Fortune 500 company. She was really proud of her attention to detail and her high standards. But when we dug deeper, we discovered that she was spending countless hours weekly reviewing every email, checking every spreadsheet, and basically doing her team's job for them. She thought she was being thorough. In reality, she was trapped in an invisible prison of micromanagement. And here's the truth. If you're a director or an executive leading a team right now, chances are that you're micromanaging without even realizing it. And it's not just hurting your team, it's destroying your potential as a leader. Today, I'm going to show you the hidden signs of micromanagement, why it's secretly sabotaging your success, and most importantly, how to break free from this pattern for good. So let me be direct with you. The most dangerous form of micromanagement is the one that you don't see. In my decades of working with executives, I've noticed these subtle signs that pop up again and again. First, you're constantly asking for updates. Sure, you call them quick check-ins or status reports. Let's be real, you're doing it daily and sometimes hourly. One of my clients, who's a VP of marketing, thought he was being proactively involved until we calculated that he was spending about 3 hours every day checking in on the work that his team was already handling. Second, and this is a big one, you're actually a bottleneck. Every decision, every email, every client communication, if it has to go through you, you might be telling yourself that you're maintaining quality, but here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't trust your team. And guess what? They know it. And here's the third sign that surprises a lot of leaders. You're working longer hours than anyone on your team. A recent study showed that micromanagers work an average of 15 to 20 hours more per week than effective leaders. That is freaking mind-blowing. Think about that. If you're regularly pulling 60 plus hours per week, it's not because you're more dedicated. It's because you're doing everyone else's jobs. And finally, you find yourself saying things like, you know what? I could just do it faster myself, or let me show you how. These are not signs of efficiency. They're the red flags of micromanagement. Now, if you've nodded your head to even one of these signs, you're probably micromanaging more than you realize. And here's what's scary. According to a Harvard Business Review study, 79% of employees have experienced micromanagement, but only 34% of leaders admit to doing it. There's a huge blind spot there. Now, you might be thinking, but Terry, I'm ensuring quality. Let me show you what this quality control is actually costing you and your organization. So let's start with the obvious, your time. I recently worked with a department head who was exactly where you might be right now, working countless hours a week, checking every detail, reviewing every decision. She thought that she was being a good leader, but here's the reality check. She was burning through $50,000 worth of time annually on tasks her team should have been handling. Think about that number for a second. That is time and energy that she was not spending on things that only someone at her level could do. But the costs go way deeper than your time. Research shows that micromanaged teams are 85% more likely to experience decreased productivity because when you're breathing down their necks, your team stops thinking creatively. They become order takers instead of problem solvers. One study found that 69% of employees considered changing jobs due to micromanagement. That's right. Your attention to detail is literally driving your talent out the door. While you're stuck in the weeds checking everybody's work, your peers are focused on strategy, innovation, and growth, as good leaders should be. Remember that department head that I mentioned earlier? Within 6 months of letting go of micromanagement, her department's productivity jumped by 40%. Her team's engagement scores doubled, and she got promoted to senior director. Isn't that a great reward for actually working less? Man, let's pay attention. Now, let's talk about the hidden emotional cost, that constant stress, the Sunday night anxiety before Monday morning, the feeling that everything will fall apart if you're not involved. Maybe those vacations where you can never really get offline because you're afraid things are going to fall apart. One of my clients described it perfectly when he said, "I feel like Atlas carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders." If that sounds familiar, keep listening. Let me be clear. This is not just about making your life easier. It's about unlocking your team's potential and stepping into your true leadership. The kind of leadership that builds empires, not bottlenecks. Now let me show you the 3-step framework that's helped hundreds of my clients break free from micromanagement and become the leaders that their teams actually want to follow. Step 1, and this is critical, start with clarity, not control. Instead of dictating how things should be done, get crystal clear on what success looks like. A director at a Fortune 500 company, whom I mentioned earlier, transformed her leadership by creating what I call success parameters, clear outcomes that give her team room to innovate. The result, her team's creative solutions actually exceeded her original expectations by 35%. Step 2 is what I call the trust accelerator. Here's how it works. Pick one low-risk project and completely delegate it. Yes, completely. Set checkpoints, not checkups. The difference is that the checkpoints are scheduled milestones. Checkups are those anxiety-driven, just checking in messages that scream micromanagement. One of my clients, David, used this method, and within 3 weeks, his team's confidence skyrocketed, and he gained back 15 hours per week. The final step is building your leadership leverage system. This is where the magic happens. Instead of being involved in everything, create systems that scale your impact. For example, replace those daily check-ins with a weekly team huddle. Trade those lengthy email reviews for a simple decision-making framework that your team can use independently. But here's the warning label. You'll feel uncomfortable at first. Your palms might get a little sweaty when you don't review that presentation. Your stomach might churn a little when you let your team handle that client meeting alone. But that's normal. In fact, if you're not feeling slightly uncomfortable, you're probably not delegating enough. Remember the VP of marketing that I talked about earlier? He used this exact framework and transformed from working 65-hour weeks to a manageable 45 hours, all while his team's performance metrics improved by 50%. And that's what real leadership looks like. Now look, here's the bottom line. Micromanagement is not just a leadership style. It's a trap that keeps you from living your full potential. You've seen the signs, you understand the cost, and now you have the framework to break free. But let me be straight with you. Knowing what to do and actually implementing it are two different things. If you're ready to transform from being a micromanager to a high-impact leader, I'd love to help you make that shift. I work with directors and executives just like you who are ready to level up their leadership. Book a free strategy session with me and let's create your personalized roadmap to build a high-performing team that runs without your constant involvement. Remember, every day that you spend micromanaging is a day that you're not leading. Your team is waiting for you to step up. And the question is, are you ready to let go and lead? Click on the link below to schedule your free call. Let's turn your insight into action. I'm Terry McDougall, your leadership development secret weapon. I look forward to talking to you soon.